Hello, I'm Archie Luxury, and welcome to the program, fuckers! Hello, fuckers. And yesterday I was out in the field, and I came across a vintage Jaguar. That's right, fuckers, a vintage Jaguar. And this is a Jaguar 3.5 litre, and it's a Jaguar Mark V. Jaguar Mark V. And I just love the styling and look of this car. And this is a car which was originally released in 1948, so it's just after World War II. And it was in production from 48 to 1951. There were about 10,500 of these fuckers were produced. And I just love it. It's just so majestic. And it's a car, it was a 3.5 litre. They had this as a 2.5 litre and a 3.5 litre. And this car you see on the screen is a 3.5. It had a top speed of 90.7 miles per hour, 146 kilometres per hour. It could accelerate from 0 to 60, that's 0 to 100 kilometres, in about 20 seconds. And this is pretty good for the time, fuckers. It was a very interesting car. The styling was it took a lot of cues from the pre-war SS Stanley sidecars, Jaguar lines. It had the grill's very Bentley grill there. And it's a lovely looking motor car. I love the rear wheels, how they've got that fender skirt, the spats. It's just a gorgeous looking car, and I absolutely love it. Early 50s, late 40s, Jaguar. This is British luxury at its finest. And I mean, there was still, the Rolls Royce and the Bentley would be a cut above, but this was no ordinary man's car. This was your wealthy fucker. A wealthy fucker. And the Mark V, it actually outsold the XK120. Oh, because it's a saloon, fuckers. And it had the Mark V retained the 1936 driveline, including the Jaguar overhead valve pushrod straight 6. And it's an amazing looking motor car. This is austere times, fuckers. After World War II, England was completely decimated, and they desperately wanted export dollars. And this here's a very, it's a very nice car for its time. It had hydraulic brakes, and it also had a pressed steel body. And I love the look of it. I love it. It's sort of, it hasn't, the previous, you go and look at the previous model to this here, and the previous model was the Mark IV, and you can see the lineage. You can see the lineage. Mind you, the interesting thing is there was no Mark I, Mark II in this lineup. Later on they had a Mark I, but that's a different car to this here. That was in the 60s. But it's quite fascinating. The Mark IV, which was that was 45 to 49, it was very similar to the pre-war cars. But this car here, the Mark V, it's starting to get more modern advances, and you can see it evolving. And I just think it looks like such a wonderful looking motor car. It's a really good motor. This would have been a rich man's motor. This is a rich man's motor. And I loved it. At the time, this car cost £1,263. 1,263 quid, fuckers. That's a lot of money. And it's very interesting. The Mark V was replaced by the Mark VII, which I quite like, actually. I like the Mark 7s. I like all these Jaguars. Jaguanas. I love these Jaguanas. And I think the Mark V just very, very... That's a cool... I'd love to own one of these as a classic car. You know, just a cool Sunday car. Go out for a drive, photograph some watches on the picnic tables in the back. You know, it's just a cool Jaguar. It's a cool Jaguar. And I love it. I'm Archie Luxury. Tell me what you fuckers think of this Jaguar. Nice one, Archie. Cool Jag.